Is this game out yet? Let's find out. Welcome to another exciting episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today is 28th of May, so we've been waiting all week long to see the latest update. It looks like it's been precedented by Boeing 747 updates and fixes. Although the current generation of consoles is nearing pretty much the end of its life cycle, a lot of fans like us are still looking back on the graphical improvements made in the past few years. With Microsoft Flight Simulator, Asobo Studios clearly wants to show what really Xbox One can do. This is certainly a milestone of updates because it's got its IFR features. If those of you who don't know what an IFR is, it's an Instrument Flight Rules. It's one of the two sets of regulations governing pretty much all aspects of civil aviation aircraft operations. The other one is Visual Flight Rules, which is VFR. In today's update, the team was excited to announce the release of Episode 8 IFR from the Feature Discovery series. The developers at Asobo Studios are preparing to release a patch for Alpha 3 build in the next day or so. The patch would have few minor updates that includes controls, planes, the user interface, as well as stability. There are definitely a lot of bug fixes as well as QoL improvements. In regard to the 747 update, the cockpit plane interiors have been updated, as well as the UI, including the controls. There was actually a fixed issue that was preventing users from exiting the control settings screen in the UI. There have been a number of alpha invites sent out. We don't have the exact number yet. In the IFR episode, lead designer Damian Kozako went over a lot of minor details that included flight planning features, where they had a look at the instruments the ATC allowed for an IFR flying experience. They also partnered with a service company that's been dedicated to flight operations as well as air traffic management solutions, which is NavBlue, that could provide all details to Flight Simulator 2020. It's definitely worth mentioning that this is real-world data that includes the official AI RAC cycle of updates every 28 days. The episode also included numerous waypoints, VORs, NDBS, communication frequencies, localizers, controlled and restricted airspaces, approaches, and also SIDs as well as STAR's procedures. I believe there is progress. Let's hope for a sooner release. The episode 8 shows us different ways a route can be edited for your own convenience, or even a cruising altitude that would be suggested based on your route. It gives estimated times between waypoints that's been provided with the information in the navigation log. The SIDs, also known as Standard Instrument Departures, as well as STARS, which is Standard Terminal Arrival Routes, along with the ILS, VOR, and R navigation approaches are all considered in the FS 2020 Flight Planner. Now this shows it's been more advanced. That gives us another opportunity to generate routes that are pretty much true to life. So flight plans can always be loaded or saved or even generated from external tools. That gives us much more vast flexibility to explore the outside world more. The flight planning information can also transfer from the world map to aircraft instruments. A user can also create or edit flight plans directly in the cockpits, which makes it much more easier. Garmin, as well as third-party instruments, which is the G1000 or 3000 or even the 5000 series that show a large panel of instruments, would be represented on general aviation planes. The three most common types of radio navigations are also available. To navigate the hard way, which is ADF, automatic direction finding that indicates relative bearing for radio beacon called NDB, which is non-directional beacon. The VOR can be provided with magnetic bearing from the station to the aircraft, and DME, which is distance measuring equipment that would indicate the distance in nautical miles from the beacon to the aircraft. This makes it much more realistic and interesting. The VOR and DME beacons are often located at the same position with the same published frequency. You can always rely on the ILS, which is the Instrument Landing Systems, for precision runway approach to be provided with both vertical and horizontal guidance during an approach to land. You can view live weather through the weather radar that's been available to analyze. If you want to change your flight plans, you can cancel as well as request IFR clearance based on the active flight plan in your instrumentation. You can also hear traffic on the radio. The ATC gives vectors to other planes where you can also hear ATC asking to report traffic inside if they're close enough. All these leads to natural AI behavior. For example, when a user asks for landing clearance, they could choose to land without a clearance, but it's going to cause unexpected AI behavior, such as preventing traffic planes from taking off or landing at certain runways. All these adds up to a much more realistic experience and expectations. With so many factors being involved, adds more realism, and I certainly hope that this is a great simulator to play. Have a look at the alpha tester images and enjoy that majestic Boeing 747 screenshots. If you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for your time. Stay tuned for the next available update on June 4th.